Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas. This is Inside Arkansas Live.
And welcome into Inside Arkansas Live here on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. I'm your host, John Neighbors, alongside Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis, and appreciate each and every one of you for making us a part of your afternoon this afternoon. Happy Wednesday to everybody out there. It's at the midway point of the week, and of course, we're going to continue to have discussions and talking about last night, Arkansas and their dominant win over Vanderbilt, as well as getting to some of the other things going on in the SEC. College basketball news where apparently anybody can play at any point in time, and it's just fine. So we'll probably get into that crazy story. We'll have our heavy hitters and, of course, get into all of your chats here on the show today. But, fellas, it's Wednesday. It's midweek. Still buzzing off the big win last night. But how are the vibes here on the midweek?
Very good. Restored. I think we needed that one, man. That was a fun game last night. Really awesome college basketball environment. When you have a top 20 matchup at Bud Walton Arena, you expect it to be a little bit crazy in there, and I thought it was, man. So really good on everybody who showed up and showed out there, including the basketball team that looked as good as they have all season long. That was a lot of fun, and looking forward to seeing if they're able to kind of stack some performances like this. We'll see when they play this basketball game. Hopefully it goes as scheduled, but I'm already seeing, for example, like Memphis has rescheduled a basketball game that was scheduled for Saturday. They moved it up to Friday. I bet there's going to be a lot of that going on around the country here.
Yeah, the only thing I'm upset about right now is that we just have such a long wait before we have to watch this team play again. We have to just wait for the next chapter. We got a lot of time to kill, and hopefully the weather complies and allows us to actually play Saturday, so it's not that long of a wait. But no, my vibes are tremendous today. Nothing can break me down, not even the snow.
Not even the snow, not even the chat. I felt like you were going to say that because usually the chat.
Well, they break me down sometimes, so I don't want to be too definitive with that.
Yeah, you can always pick and choose your battles there. But it's great because it's always better when the Razorbacks win and you're coming off of it, especially considering the energy and the environment and the talk and everything. But it's just one of those things, which I know you guys talked about it in Pot at the Palace post game show last night and everything. It's like it's great. This is awesome. Love it. Great performance. Best performance of the year. Don't let it go to waste. Don't have it to where we're coming back here against LSU or even Oklahoma next week and be like, well, back at it and still can't get to a great start on the road, still have these issues. I know Cal in his opening statement last night was very, direct about his approach, and he kind of just shrugged his shoulders. He's like, I don't know. What could it be? But I think that's the thing where it's frustrating, but also enjoyable because you know how good this team is. You know how good they can be. You know what their upside is. You know what their ceiling is. And when you see games like that, you're like, dude, if they play like that all the time, they're not going to lose any games this year. I mean, they're one of the best teams. But then as we've seen so far this year too, but sometimes they just have a big letdown. And that's what's frustrating and where I'm excited. I love it. I'm never going to be upset by a win, but I'm just really hoping that this isn't going to be the same song, different verse where here we are a week from now talking about like, well, same crap, same stupid stuff that we saw against Oklahoma, LSU, or whoever.
I sure hope not. Yeah, it's two things now for Arkansas. One, and they did against South Carolina, so they're probably fine here. But Cal talked last night in that epic opening rant that he had, where he was like, "Hey, I don't know. Like, do we win a game and get arrogant, and we think we can just show up the next game and not get challenged and get the same result? Well, now you're going to be playing an LSU team at home that." They had a good non-conference, but they've been found a little bit, right? They're 1-5 in SEC. You should be able to handle your business there. Don't play down to the competition, all those old things. And then, can you take the show on the road? You don't have to look as good as you did against Vanderbilt, but you certainly can't look as bad as you have in a couple of these games the last 2 Saturdays. And it's all part of the growing process for a basketball team. My hope is that, and I think they're probably still going to lose some more games this season, obviously, but you want to keep getting better as the year goes along. You don't want to start trending in the wrong direction. Arkansas did that last year. It was in the extremes. They at this point last year, they hadn't won a dang SEC game yet. So I get it. It's a little bit different, but as they got into February, they kept getting better and better and better every game, especially on the defensive end. I'm so encouraged by what we saw on that end of the floor last night because now everything we've talked about is, well, they should be better defensively. I know they've got it in them. They're too athletic. They're too talented. Now they've showed us that is true. Maybe they needed to see it for themselves to really tighten up on that end of the floor and keep improving as we keep moving forward the season.
Yeah, I guess it's refreshing to not be having a conversation about your team's capability and are they good? Are they going to have a chance to go on a run? Like, we know this team has a very high ceiling. We know what they can do on their best night. I guess it makes it more frustrating to just know that you don't know which version of them is going to show up. And so even seeing how great last night was, you still kind of know in the back of your mind, they could let go of the rope. They could just lay an egg in any given game. And that's what's going to make it a little bit fearful. But it is just a little bit nice for me that we're not wondering, usually in the month of January, we're like wondering if this team can climb their way out of a hole, or if they hate each other, if they can find the right lineup, if they can find the right matchup. There's really not a matchup. There's not a team that presents issues to Arkansas that they can't solve. They can solve all the issues. It's just a battle between the years and a battle within themselves. And so kind of makes you big picture fearful of what they're going to do in the biggest moments of the season, but does give you a little bit of confidence that it's up to them. Like it's if they lose a game down the stretch, or if they lose a game in the tournament, not to say that they're better than every team, but it's not going to be because some team, they had great big men that Arkansas just couldn't stop, or they had 3-point shooters that Arkansas couldn't guard. If Arkansas wants to play their brand of basketball, they can play it against pretty much anyone. And I know Vanderbilt's not the best team in the country or anything, but for it to be as emphatic as it was just a nice little reminder of what this team can do when they're all rowing in the same direction. And I do think there's some value in last night being the first time that all 8 guys actually contributed. It's not Ewan sucked, but at least Pringle was good. And, DJ was really struggling, but Malik Thomas, every single guy contributed. That has to, kickstart your morale in a very positive way.
Yeah, because I think even Trevin Brazil last night in his press conference was talking about, which he's like, whether it's the transition from the Georgia game to this game, it's like, we just, we beat ourselves. We beat ourselves. They all understand that it's a problem. They all identify. It's like, you're the ones that do this. It's not, the other team just got hot, or the other team. It's like, no, they all understand. It's like, we do this to ourselves. And it's at the point now where it's like, I know for fans' sake, they're like, we don't care. Just fix it. Whatever it takes just to fix this crap, instead of us having bad Saturdays and not fun ones, and losing to teams that you feel like you should. Because it's the thing, we all know you're not going to win every game, especially on the road in conference. You're not. But it's the way that they do it and the way that they perform where it's just frustrating. But who knows? Maybe the tinkering with the lineup last night, does Cal stick with having Malik Thomas be the starter and DJ Wagner coming off the bench? Does he ride with that? I guess we'll find out against LSU, hopefully against LSU this weekend. But that was, I think, also kind of a cool thing, is just to see evidence of the tinkering from the fan perspective and from our perspective, not just being like, oh, no, we went to practice and did this. It's like, no, you saw changes and it looked like they were beneficial changes. It's just a matter of, are they going to stick with those changes, or are they going to revert back and just try to figure it out the other direction too?
Yeah, it looked pretty good to me, right? And we've been calling for this, and 1 game sample size, but that was exactly what you would have hoped for, and exactly what we thought might happen if they did that. Get your second best player, who's an absolute firecracker out there, in the starting lineup, and let him give you a little bit of an extra push early. That's exactly what Malik Thomas did. I thought he was awesome for most of the game there, and take a little bit of pressure off of DJ, and then galvanize him a little bit by putting the ball in his hands when you sub him into the game. It wasn't just bringing DJ off the bench. It was the role in which they played him when he did come off the bench. And I thought it worked out really well. I think it takes a little bit of heat off A-Cuff, because he kind of has to do everything out there at times. He's the ball handler. He's got the double teams coming at him. He's got the ball pressure on him. He's got to navigate through all the pick and rolls, and he's dribbling and exerting himself for 25 seconds every possession. And now that you have a little bit of comfort, and we can slide him off the ball for a couple possessions here and there, whether it's DJ running the show out there, or whether it's Malik Thomas, who is initiating quite a bit. And it's okay. And you can get away with that. Maybe that allows him to play a little bit harder on defense, which he did last night, especially after him and Cal got mad at each other again, which was hilarious. But I like it. I'm a little bit, my antennas are up, because Cal did the thing where he said, hey, I made this change because Malik wants to start and everything. And that's great. But I did this for DJ because I need to get DJ going. This is more about getting him going than it was about Malik Thomas. Well, now that you got him going, are you just going to keep him going in that way? Or are you going to be like, all right, he's back, and just sub him right back in there? That would inflame a lot of people, especially if they turn around and come out and they're down 10-2 or whatever against LSU. People will lose it, man.
Yeah, Cal is far from a perfect coach. He does things that drive us nuts sometimes. He does things that I know get Kentucky fans up in a tizzy. And so there's always stuff like that you kind of have to worry about. But one thing that he's usually pretty consistent at is coaching really good talent. He's used to doing it. He's used to having these conversations with individual players. DJ Wagner is not the first 5-star player whose maybe college career didn't go the way he wanted, and Cal's having to have some of those conversations and coach him through it. He knows what this is like, and I think we hear him talk about it all the time. I mean, last night in his opening statement, I thought that was one of his better opening statements of the year, where he just kind of goes through and he's like, hey, Darius Acuff, I've got to coach him a certain way. I have to kind of have that battle with him and make him sit for a while and get him to realize that he needs to play a certain way. DJ Wagner, had to get him going. Had to get Malik Thomas going. Had to get Malik Ewan going. And will it always work out where all 8 of your guys play great basketball? No, but I do think he's very good at finding whatever the best version of these guys is, and that's the right message to this team. And even someone like Trevin, where I loved when he did the thing with Trevin, where he was like, "Well, you just had a bad day." Like, wow, how does that happen when you're that good? How does that happen? I love it, and I think it is. I mean, listen, I'm not saying Arkansas has all the time in the world. I think where Arkansas is at right now is about right for January 21st. You know, if they had to enter the NCAA tournament this weekend, I probably wouldn't feel great, because I would still kind of be like, well, are we sure this is really just solidified DJ and he's good now? And are we sure they can take this show on the road? I feel like they're in a good spot for where they're at in the season, and sort of the stretch of the schedule where it's a little bit more manageable right here. I think as we get into March, this team continues to do more stuff like last night, have some fun and have some experience and play the right brand of basketball and be rewarded for it. The more they do that, the more they'll kind of get closer and closer to whatever we think that best version of them is. But I think Cal has the right idea in trying to get all 8 individual guys to get the best version of themselves. And if Arkansas does that, it's going to be really tough to beat them.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly the point I was going to get into too, Curtis, because that's what I was like, wait, hold on a second. Now, what do you mean get going? Like, what if he does get going?
Yeah.
You know, he got going in that role. Like, why not just stick him and keep him in the role that he got going on, you know, instead of being like, oh, now he's ready. You know, now he's ready to switch over to his other role. No, just keep doing that until it doesn't work anymore and then make a change. But it was kind of funny though. You know, Bobby Ring from Barstool Sports texted me last night when he found out the DJ wasn't starting, and he just goes, "What the hell?" That's all he said. Was just like, "Yeah, I know, man." It's like, you know, so many people. I know Cats by 21 or whatever was like, "Oh, hell's gonna freeze over" and everything. It's like
it literally is this weekend. So
yeah, he called it. That's what's gonna be happening. But no, I mean, listen, I'm hoping that it sticks with this. I think that, you know, if once you find something, you find that role and you just roll with it. Let's hope that that's the case. But this is kind of random because I know we'll get into a lot of things from last night's game, guys. Would you allow me to have a very serious criticism of Darius Acuff? Would you allow me this?
Yeah.
I don't like the fact he didn't shoot the ball before the half ended when he had 2 seconds.
I didn't like that either.
Me either.
I rewatched the game and the highlights and all that, and I saw that. And I remember in the moment when I saw it, I didn't like it. And then it reminded me, I'm like, I don't like that. I understand that the likelihood is probably not high. I get that you were beating the crap out of him and all that. But I'm like, what if you lost that game by 2 or 3 points? And not to say you would have for sure made it, but not even have that attempt. That was just something I wanted to bring up randomly. I feel like if you guys felt the same way, because I'm like, dude, if you have the ball in your hands, and even if it was like 0.9 or something, okay, but it's like you had 2.5 seconds and you looked up, you saw it, and now you need to get a shot off. He wasn't a fan of that.
Yeah, you got a couple dribbles you can gather. Nobody's around you. Like, that could be a pretty clean look. I think it was, well, Cats would know, it was somebody for Kentucky. I think it was Owe hit one of those a couple weeks ago. And it was a big momentum shifter for him there. And Vanderbilt hadn't regained momentum, but they cut it to, what was like 11 or something at halftime. You were up by about 20. So, you know, like, give it a shot there and see what happens. That kind of, yeah, that got to me a little bit. I'm not going to lie.
I mean, listen, and Darius Acuff is a great player who I'm sure he's very aware of his numbers at all times. And I think he probably would agree 7 for 14 looks a little bit better than 7 for 15. And so he was like, you know what? It's just the decision I made. In the NBA, they literally changed the rule, I'm pretty sure, to where if you take a shot like under 5 seconds or whatever, it doesn't count. Where like, because there was so many people in the NBA that were doing that. In the NBA, they pass it to their teammate. So their teammate looks like the jerk. And then I know there was a trend where, you know, you have the ball with 25 seconds of the 24 shot clock. And so someone's going to get charged with a turnover. The veterans would always wait until there was 1 second on the clock, pass it to the rookie, let him eat the turnover. You know, which stuff like that's kind of funny at the end of the game. But halftime, Yeah, I want to see you. You know what he should have done is done the like half-ass, like wait until the clock expires and then throw it to make it look like you were trying. At least do that so we can at least feel okay about it. Just straight up eating it. I don't love that.
Yeah. I mean, after last night, after that performance, it's like he's gonna have to come back another year, guys, because he's got to learn how to take half court shots before the clock runs out.
I'm sure some idiot on Twitter will point that out too.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait.
Motor problems. Yeah, he's not a winner.
Yeah, just doesn't do the
53rd on my draft board.
Yeah.
Yep. Doesn't do the little things, that's for sure. So we'll continue to talk about this, folks. I want to remind everybody the Blue Ember Smokehouse is a fantastic place when it comes to all of your handcrafted barbecue. We love being in partnership with Blue Ember Smokehouse because it is the best. Just like we strive to be the best, they strive to do it as well. And they have everything you possibly want because they buy the highest quality meats. They apply their signature blend of spices as well as slowly smoking in their wood-only pits. And the great thing about it, too, is actually our guy Peyton, he's sending over some of their rub. You can buy their rub and their seasoning to use on your own barbecue. So it's spreading all across the globe here. They also do great catering for events, whether it's weddings, parties, business meetings, anything like that. They're going to make sure that they take care of you and get you catered with some amazing barbecue. So you can contact one of your individual stores as they have 6 different locations here in the state of Arkansas. Fort Smith, Jonesboro, Texarkana, Little Rock, Hot Springs, and Rogers, all with their phone numbers there, right there on the screen. If you ever need an event, they will help you out for it. And just as a reminder, Inside Arkansas will be live at the Rogers location each and every first Wednesday of the month. That's right. First Wednesdays of the month, we'll be there at Blue Ember there in Rogers. Thank you for supporting your local Blue Ember Smokehouse. So, Curtis, I heard you laugh about something. Was there a chat that somebody had brought up?
I was laughing at Ryan because I was talking about the idiots on Twitter and I was talking about the draft dudes or whatever. And he just goes, I'm that idiot on Twitter. Thanks, Curtis. I wasn't talking about you, but that's funny.
This happens a lot where we'll be like, oh, there's probably some moron that's mad about this. And then there's like someone in the chat that's like, yeah, I'm mad.
Yeah. That's my favorite thing too. So, but at least he's self-aware, he's self-aware that he's one of those guys. And I'm sorry if you guys are going to use this for one of your heavy hitters, but you talked about on the Pot at the Palace post-game show last night, but this has gotten a lot of draw here, man. This Malik Thomas no-look 3. Now, I remember you mentioning it. I think it was you, Andrew, in the postgame that mentioned it. And I saw people on Twitter, but I had left already. And I hadn't seen it live or seen on TV. And I was like, oh, maybe it was just one of those crazy. Now rewatching, like, oh, no, holy crap. He like straight up just shot it and then turned around while it was at the highest peak of its arc and then went back. In the U of A, I guess the Razorback basketball accounts, it wasn't something that they ran from. Be like, we don't tolerate this kind of stuff. Like they went all in on it, but still, that's Malik Thomas, the one that we saw in that video of like, you got no offers to the schools that I have. Like that's the aura of Malik Thomas I want to see, and just a really cool photo. Whoever took this, by the way.
Yeah, aura is a good word for it. That's aura farming at the max right there. And he's the dude on this roster that's got the confidence to do something like that, because if you take that shot, it doesn't matter if you're up by 30 or whatever it was at the time, and you turn around and do that and you swaggy pee it instead of make it, that's going to be a bad look for you, man. You're going to get an earful back there on the bench. So good on him, man. Shooters know when it comes out of the hand, it's a good one. And he knew right there for sure.
I mean, I kind of want to see some of these other ones, like, because I know there's been a lot of people that have done it. Like, I know that Malik Thomas didn't invent this tactic. I don't think anybody had the ball as far away from the rim as Malik did when he turned around. I mean, he's fully turned around right now. He's been turned around for a half second at least. The ball is still not that close to the rim. I mean, he turned around so quick. I really don't think I've ever seen that.
No, I mean, I can't remember a time. And that's the thing is like you said, Curtis, you better make it. And I'm so glad he did. But because if he would have missed it, man, you would have heard all about it. Or at least people would just been like, yeah, this guy needs to get something in check. But obviously, as I always like to quote, I won't say the exact quote, but from Major League, when the outfielder has that crazy highlight catch out in the outfield and they run off the field, he goes, nice job. Don't ever effing do it again. It's kind of like one of these things where it's like, hey, great shot. Don't do that again. Just like I'm sure that got mentioned to him. But yeah, I'm glad again. If it was anybody else, I don't see anybody else doing that. But the fact that it was Malik and the fact that he made it and the fact it was blowout, that's the best of all worlds there.
Yeah,
so
that was awesome, man. I enjoyed that. Did either one of you guys catch John Calipari dancing on the sideline in front of the bench.
I didn't in the moment.
I heard about this, but I didn't get to see it.
It was awesome, man. I can't remember the play, but it was at that point when it just became very clear. Like there was no run in Vanderbilt in the second half, and Arkansas got it was like 4 dunks in a row or something. They're just picking them apart, and they got another one. I think they extended the lead to 20. And I look down at the bench, and Cal is he's doing a full-on jig, man. And he's looking at the guys, and he's smiling and everything. And it was awesome, but he was mid-dance. And, like the crowd's up on their feet. It was one of those momentum things. It was really loud in there. And then Tyler Tanner hit his only 3 of the game while Cal was mid-dance. And it's one of those where it's like, okay, we can all sit down as an arena now. And Cal just stopped and turned around. He didn't know what happened. It was hilarious, but he was feeling himself. He was feeling himself last night.
And he was coaching, man. He was letting that chalk talk, man. This is a very engaged John Calipari, who was getting really into Malik Ewan's face a couple times on the bench. Like, It was a very intense, Coach Cal. Chin Coleman, also very animated. Great pregame speech.
Chin's the man. Yeah, I love Chin Coleman. That dude is awesome.
Yeah, me and Curtis were talking about that when we were walking into the arena. We were walking by Cal's parking spot. And you're like, hey, is that actually Cal's car or is that his driver? Is that actually the one he just whips around in? We're like, dude, I don't know what Chin Coleman drives, but I bet you it's something. It's something cool. It's something pretty awesome. I totally could see that happening. But no, I hate that I missed that jig because where I was sitting, I got to see some of the things. And I know this is like something that everyone sees, but it does crack me up. The second that Carter or Billy or Ewan or Pringle, like one of them, doesn't get a rebound that they should, makes a bad pass or whatever, Cal gets up, goes to the bench. And there is no tolerance for those types of things, which is what you love to see. Because I knew Muss would do some of that sometimes too. Maybe a little too extreme sometimes for Muss, where a guy, would just take like one maybe ill-advised shot and he's like, nope, out. But that's the one thing that Cal I saw a lot last night is, just no tolerance for not going and getting a rebound or not holding onto the ball on a rebound, just things like that. He's, like you said, he's out there coaching, man. He's out there saying, we have an expectation, and that's not going to be tolerated. You're going to come out if you're not going to play.
Yeah, I love that he yanked Acuff there early in the second half because he looked like crap. He honestly, he made a couple shots in there, and he competed defensively, but he really didn't look very good in the first half, and he didn't have any assists, and he comes out there to start the second half, and it was just like very meh. He just looked disengaged, and when Cal yanked him, I thought that was very notable. And I'm glad that he brought it up afterwards. That was hilarious, by the way. And he's right. Like, hey, if you need to be pissed off at me to play the way that you did after I put you back in there, then be pissed off at me all day, every day, man. Have at it.
Yeah, I remember when my dad would get on to me for not doing stuff. He would tell me to do something, I'd forget to do it. He'd get mad, and then I would do it, and I would be like, happy. And he was just like, yeah. Like, I am happy that you did what I asked you to do. And it's just a prime example of, like, some guys need a kick in the rear. Some players are a little bit soft, and I don't want to say soft. Some guys just need a little bit of a pump up. Like, I feel like Carter Knox is one of those guys that needs to be pumped up, needs to be enthused, needs to be, you have to breathe life into him. Acuff, I feel like you do have to kind of poke and prod at him a little bit, slap him on the ass just to get him going a little bit. And, like Cal said, if he wants to be mad at me while he's making great decisions, do it.
Yeah. Well, and that's something that I thought about too, which obviously, Curtis, I know you were a coach, but it feels like so many coaches in this day and age, and whenever they get a high caliber player like that, there's so much of a, hey, be friendly with them, make sure that they like you, because you want them to be cool with you. You don't want to upset them, could cause some problems because you may not be confident or whatever, which is a way to go about it. And maybe it does work, but that's where I, really appreciate having someone who has the resume and the power of Cal, is because it's like, I don't care who you are. I'm going to bench you if you're not playing. If you get mad, great. Okay. Keep playing hard. So it's like, because I feel like in some cases, some other coaches, maybe even in this league, if they had a player like Acuff and Acuff was getting mad at him, they'd be like, okay, well, let's just all settle down here. All right. Let's just chill. Cal's not like that. He's like, I don't care who you are. I've coached, I'm not saying he'd say this, but probably like, I've coached better players than you. All right. Like, yeah, I know what I'm doing. And who have you played for? Oh, some high school coach over there. Okay. I'm John Calipari. I'm that guy. Mm-hmm. So that's just a nice, like, almost like a nice breather for me as a fan to be like, okay, well, I'm not going to have to worry about Cal not knowing how to handle a high talent player. It's like, no, he's going to push the right buttons.
also, we've all been in, whether it's a classroom or a team or some type of group, where one of the people that you perceive to be the favorites or the best or the whatever, like when they get in trouble, it kind of makes you feel good. As a youngest of 5 siblings, I loved when my sisters got in trouble because I was like, oh yeah, dad's holding them accountable too. I feel like some of the teammates had to have looked at that and been like, you know what? Not that they want Darius Acuff to get scolded, but it's like, you know what? If you're Malik Ewan and you're getting chewed out every time you don't box out or whatever, probably makes you feel a little bit good to see the star point guard getting chewed out and getting sat on the bench where it's like, you know what? This is a fair democracy we live in.
Yeah, and Cal's got the resume to be able to do that. That's the other thing he was talking about with Malik Thomas, that he's been mad, maybe at Cal or whatever, because he wants to start, as he should. You're a really good player. Everybody wants to be in the starting lineup. And he was like, I've had really good players, better players than Malik Thomas, who've come off the bench for me. And I just love that he said that, because it sounds like, dang, is he taking a shot at his boy? But no, it's true. Like, go look at some of the dudes he's brought off the bench. And that doesn't mean that they weren't worthy of starting. But even he said, hey, some of those guys are making, millions upon millions of dollars now, and they're still mad at me for not starting them. But it wound up working out in the end, which is another reason why this is very notable that he put DJ to the bench and put Malik Thomas in the lineup here, because he's been very resistant to doing that kind of thing for so long. So that's why when everybody from Kentucky who listens in or, hears about it or whatever, it's like, there's no way in hell it's ever going to happen, because they've lived through it. And so I do think it's notable. Maybe the man is just, he's evolving and adapting in this day and age. And by the way, because the same people have done the thing about Cal and his his offense, it's archaic, it's outdated. He's not an analytics guy, whatever. If the season ended today, John Calipari would have the most efficient offense that he has ever had during the Ken Pom era. Goes back through his entire tenure with all those guys at Kentucky, all the way through his Memphis time. It's this Arkansas team that's setting the bar by a pretty wide margin at the moment. So I guess he's doing something right.
Wow.
Yeah.
By the way, big up to the guy that tweeted at Curtis last night and said that he hopes that DJ Wagner can pull a Kenny Dillingham. And we looked at that tweet like 2 minutes and we were like, what does this mean? What is he referencing? Before we finally realized he was talking about Rob Dillingham, the shooting guard that played at Kentucky during Cal's last year. But we were like, Kenny Dillingham. Did Kenny Dillingham come off the bench? What's going on here?
Threw me for a loop for a while. I was like, what?
I've been thinking about that since like this morning. That was like my first thought. I was like, yep, DJ Wagner looks like Kenny Dillingham off the bench.
Yeah, classic mix-up. Classic mix-up. I will say though that if DJ was going to start again, I'd say, hey, do it against Kentucky when they come, because last year the former Kentucky guys played really well against the Wildcats. So maybe that'll be something to add in there too. So, yeah. But we'll continue the discussion, folks. We'll get to your chats and everything like that. But I want to remind everybody that the Drain Masters of Arkansas is going to have you covered for all of your drain cleaning and plumbing needs here in the state of Arkansas, because we know there is nothing more difficult to have to deal with than if your plumbing is not working. It's one of those things you almost take for granted. But if you start having some issues and start having some buildup and some things where flooding can happen, damage can happen, whether it's your home or your business, well, wait no longer. Go ahead and give them a call today, because they're going to get it all done for you, whether in the state of Arkansas or the state of Oklahoma. They license both, and they are ready to handle all plumbing and drain cleaning needs with that professional and reliable service. So give them a call, 479-646-5585. That's 479-646-5585. You can also scan that QR code right there on your screen. It'll take you to the website where you can request a service there as well. And when you do, folks, this is the biggest key. When you do, be sure to say that Inside Arkansas sent you. Be sure to say Inside Arkansas sent you, because when you tell them that, they're going to give you 10% off all of your services. That's right, 10% off all of your services, no matter what, with the Drain Masters of Arkansas. So anything and everything plumbing relating, no job is too big or too small. Drain Masters of Arkansas has you covered. All right, guys. Also, I know the next game, of course, is LSU at home. We going to get that game to play? Like, I feel like I'm sure you guys have been asked about some as well. Like getting DMs like, hey, is there going to be a game this weekend? It's almost like I feel like Andrew now with baseball. It's just like, hey, they're going to play ball this weekend, Andrew. There's a 10% chance of rain. But no, this is actually like a snowpocalypse could be imminent. Yeah, imminent, whatever. But still, it's going to happen. So like, is there any plans in place? Like, what are we doing here?
As far as I know, and I've been talking to some folks over there at the U of A this morning, it sounds like they have every intention of playing Saturday regardless of what this weather looks like. It's all about LSU getting here, which they would just need to move their flight up or like get here earlier on Friday. Like just show up Friday morning and you're in town. As long as they're here and the folks that you have to have are around, so like the officials and like whoever's doing the broadcast, and they're going to play on Saturday unless it's just otherworldly or whatever. But if the two teams are here, I would anticipate them playing the game. I don't know what the fallback would be. Like I said earlier, some other teams are like rescheduling some games to be a little bit earlier and stuff, but it doesn't sound like they want to do that. It would be difficult for them to play a day earlier because of all the gymnastics stuff. And you could theoretically play a day later if you want to do like a doubleheader with the women, but then you get like 1 day and you got to turn around and travel and go to OU. So they're not going to want to do that. The only other thing I could see them trying to do if they didn't have a choice, is rescheduling for that bye week. The first week of February is the bye in the midweek for both Arkansas and LSU. So I think they're going to play Saturday as scheduled, or they're going to push it back to that midweek. And I hope they just play Saturday. I know it sucks for people who want to come from Central Arkansas and everything like that. And I get it. Hell, I'm a mile and a half down the road. I don't even know if I'll be able to go, but we've had some of those snow games with, the students and just people real nearby, and they shut down the upper deck and everybody gets to go in the lower bowl, and it gets kind of rowdy in there. It's cool. It's an interesting environment. Maybe they do something like that. My big thing is, after you have a win like you did against Vanderbilt, I want them to get back out there and just like keep building that momentum and ride that wave a little bit. Don't give me a full week between games and then send me to Norman after that. I'll pass. Thank you.
Yeah, John, you mentioned it there a little bit, but like I do think the average fan thinks that it takes not that much to cancel or move these events, and it really does. Especially, I know this kind of sounds stupid, this is an indoor venue. You know what I mean? Like, as long as they can get to the arena, there is no reason not to play the game. And listen, I understand that the U of A may look at it and say, man, but we're not going to be able to have a ton of fans there. That is not going to factor into the decision. They are not going to factor in how many fans can drive up from all corners of the state. If both teams and the officials, like Curtis was saying, if both teams and the officials can get there, they're going to play the game. And so you look at the weather and all that. LSU may have to change their flight. They may have to move some plans around, but I think LSU is probably going to have a chance to at least get to Fayetteville, and they'll probably have a chance to get to the arena. And that's really all that has to happen for this game to happen. And I do need people to understand that. And it's a little bit different with baseball because, like you're saying, like people, anytime it rains at all, people are like, oh, so they're not playing this weekend. It's like, they put a tarp on the field, it drains, like it has to be storming at the time of the game for them to not play. In this particular case, it's not going to take much. If they can literally get to the arena, they will play. And I hope people understand that. So you're looking and you're seeing the forecast and you're like, oh, is 7 inches of snow enough? Is 9 inches of snow enough? If they can get to the arena, they're going to play.
Yeah, because if that's the case, then when there was only a few thousand fans showing up at the beginning of the year, why didn't they just cancel the game then? Because there's only a few fans there. Couldn't make it to the game, apparently, because, midweek games and church and all this stuff. So if they're not going to cancel it for that, they're not going to cancel it for anything else. But like you said, yeah, as long as they got teams and officials, the game's going to get played, plain and simple. So, but we'll keep you updated on it. I know everyone's going to be watching it because it's also not even just like it's not like the snow cloud is just appearing in Northwest Arkansas and nowhere else. Like it's going to be impacting some places across SEC territory when it comes to that. So I know a lot of people are going to be monitoring it and everything. But I hope that if they're able to get the game played, because it's supposed to be 7:30 on a Saturday night, I think is what's scheduled at this point.
Yeah.
If they're able to do that, embrace the chaos, man. Like hand out fireball shots to the kids as they're walking in and just get crazy with it. Let students sit pretty much wherever they want. Don't use the little glow stick things where they're throwing them on the court anymore. Let's just nix that one. Don't do that one again, because that was a problem. But yeah, just get weird with it. Make it crazy, make it weird, get as many people as you can in there and make it like student driven, whatever it takes. But I'm with you guys too. Just like keep this going. I don't want to wait another week to play and then play Oklahoma State. And that bye week, I call it a bye week, but that stretch that you had that was already planned, that suddenly you have to force a game into that and then play LSU like 10 days later. No. Let's find a way to make this work. Exhaust every resource you possibly can. And LSU, I know you guys suck at basketball. Do not run. Do not say, oh man, the wheels on the plane, it doesn't have enough air, the pressure, the cold. It's no.
Yeah.
Get up here.
Don't duck the smoke. You got to come here and face it,
Yes.
Fly here Thursday night. Fly here tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Leave early Friday morning before all this stuff even is thinking about moving through. Would be easy enough for them to get here and they'd be fine.
I just can't wait but Curtis, they have class. I mean, you expect them to miss a day of class to trip these student athletes? Come on now. I mean, it's going to be that one or the other, but yeah, just make it happen. And that way we can just continue on and get weird with it, and also win the game. Arkansas, that'd be cool.
That would be neat. Yeah,
that would be a really good thing there too. So there is a pretty big story that we're going to talk about here, and because we'll get to your chats, folks, I promise. Although it looks like a cesspool already, but before we do, though, I want to tell you about Hickey Hull Law, the official law firm of us here at Inside Arkansas, because they're going to take care of all of your legal needs. No matter what it is, divorce and custody cases, criminal cases, civil litigation cases, personal injury cases, estate planning cases, they truly do it all because they've handled thousands of cases and experienced nearly every scenario that has come up. And I know that as being the official law firm of Inside Arkansas, anytime in the business side of things, hey, I got a question for you. I send our guy Brad a text. He responds right back to me. I mean, they are up to date on it, and they stay in contact with you, especially with all their clients, pushing forward all their cases to make sure that it's consistent, to make sure that they're in communication and everything like that. So if you're needing any help when it comes to your legal needs, when it comes to all these cases, give Hickey Hull Law a call today at 479-434-2414. That's 479-434-2414. You can also check out their website at hickeyandhull.com. It's Hickey Hull Law. Things are about to get better. All right. So, this story, dude, this is wild. That's coming out. And this Charles Bediako thing, that's how you say his name, right?
Yeah.
Bediako. I'm just going to read the story from this because we know that he was trying to, be able to be eligible to play for Alabama once again. But this is according to Nick Kelly of AL.com. That's the key word, former Alabama center Charles Bediako has been granted a temporary restraining order after suing the NCAA, which means he's immediately eligible to participate in basketball-related activities with the Crimson Tide, including games. And it says that this will remain in effect for 10 days or until a hearing on the motion for a preliminary injunction is conducted. A hearing is set for January 27th. It says there's only one game on the schedule, Alabama, before January 27th, and that's Tennessee. But either way, he last suited up for Alabama in 2023, left for the NBA draft, didn't get picked up. The Spurs quickly picked him up for NBA Summer League, signing him to a G League contract. At one point, he got a two-way contract with the Spurs. However, he never saw any playing time with an NBA team. So, guys, officially, this guy, if he wants to suit up against Tennessee for the Alabama Crimson Tide, he can.
It's a chicken shit move by Nate Oates.
It is,
in my opinion. And this is different. Like I see Ryan and because he said, I told y'all, this is an entirely different circumstance than anything else that we've seen so far. This is what's crazy to me. I understand the James Najee thing or the Dink Pate thing way more than this. You could even talk me into Trenton Flowers before you talk me into this. This is a kid that played 2 years of college basketball, and everybody's got their little notes app thing. I will forego my remaining college eligibility. Did you get enough of an education to understand what that means? When you do that, you're done. You can't play anymore, dude. Sorry that you decided to be a professional, couldn't hack it, didn't get drafted, went through 3 professional contracts. You're regretting your decision, and now you want to go back. That's not how this works. I don't even know how he has a clock at this point. How do you play 2 and then dick around in the G League for 3 years and then come back and you're worried about the pain and suffering about not being able to help an Alabama team with a bunch of guys that you don't even know to get to an NCAA tournament. But congratulations, you'll get to go and you'll get to play against Tennessee. If I was Rick Barnes, I'd raise hell about this. And then they'll have this hearing on the 27th, and they'll say, oh, actually, this is crazy. No, this guy can't play. He's going to be a 1-game mercenary, and then they're going to shut this stuff down. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, if I had to guess, I mean, I don't. Apparently, you can just file a restraining order against the NCAA and they can't do anything. That's kind of crazy to me. But if I had to guess, I don't think this 10-day window is going to extend for long. I don't think he's going to be a full-time member of the Alabama basketball roster. I'm not 100% sure he's going to play in any games. Like, I know he technically, like, they're saying he can or whatever. I feel like there's going to be something that steps in, and maybe he plays in one, maybe he plays in two, but I don't think it's going to really be a huge thing. I also think this is a huge desperation move from Alabama. And I know they've had some injuries, have had some whatever. We've talked about the James Nazi situation. For those that are not paying attention, it completely derailed Baylor's season. Their season is completely fallen apart because, like we said in the moment, you bring in these guys randomly mid-year who are not enrolled at your school and really shouldn't even be playing. How is your team going to respond to that? So as an Arkansas fan who wants Alabama to not have success, I'm actually all for this because I think this is a complete disaster that's going to probably piss a lot of people off inside that facility. It's going to piss a lot of people off outside the facility. And I don't think this is going to be a long-term situation that changes the sport of college basketball, just like the James Nazi situation wasn't this big picture thing that changed the sport of college basketball. I think this is just another joke that the NCAA is letting fly.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought it up, Curtis, because, I mean, we could sit here. We all know the NCAA is a powerless organization that has no spine. We know that. We know that lawyers are going to be out here and you know, being money grubbers and just trying to get cases and trying to win cases for money purposes and all that. We know that, you know, certain players may be out here saying, hey, you know, I'm not making it the way I was before, and I kind of still want to play, and I kind of want to do this. Like, I don't agree with it, but I could at least get down and understand some of that. What I don't understand is Nate Oates and Alabama even giving this any sort of consideration in any capacity whatsoever. That's who I actually have the biggest issue with. And I'm going to quote one of my favorite movies of Jurassic Park from Dr. Malcolm, Ian Malcolm. But he says, you took too much time figuring out whether you could instead of trying to decide whether you should. And that's how I feel about this. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Just because you think, like, who's going to benefit from this? What is the point of this? And all you do is you're just continuing to make a mockery of the entire situation like this. And like Nate Oates, like, all you had to do, and I'm saying Nate Oates, but just Alabama, whoever's involved, all you had to do is just say, no, we're not going to entertain this thing. This is not even anything that we even want to get into because it's stupid. And we got a team that we have right now and we're moving forward. But the fact that it's even gotten to this point that it's, I don't know. Again, there's a lot of people to have issues with, but I take the biggest issue with Nate Oates, who I never really liked to begin with. He's a great coach, but this is just a joke and it's just stupid and it makes a mockery of the whole institution.
Yeah. And when they did the James Najee thing at Baylor, Nate Oates spoke on this and he said, I don't like it. I feel like it's taken away opportunities from high school kids and this whole deal. But he also said, but if it's going to be a thing, then I guess I have to do it. Otherwise, these guys are going to go somewhere else. So talking out of both sides of your mouth there, I guess, like, stand for something. But I get it. You got a job to do and games to win. That's disappointing. Like, I would love to hear, you know, Cal and what he has to say about this one and a lot of other, because I do think this is different. I at least have some level of sympathy for the guys who maybe they were in the G League Ignite thing, or when Overtime Elite had that post-grad program where it's like you get your year removed doing that and you go straight into the draft. And when NIL came along, and all, it just that changed, man. And all that stuff shut down and you couldn't really go to college. You didn't really have much of a choice but to try to get drafted. You didn't. Fine. You made a bad decision there and you can go back. But for somebody who played multiple years already of college to think you're good enough and make the decision to get you signed it away, man. You gave up your college eligibility and you signed a two-way deal and you signed a couple Exhibit 10s. Like, you've been messing around there on 3 different teams and now you're coming back. And then did you guys see the statement from Alabama? This is what really sent me. A statement from the University of Alabama on Charles Bediako. The University of Alabama supports Charles in his ongoing efforts to be reinstated for competition while he works to complete his degree. Don't bring academics into this.
Stop.
Don't bring that into this. Okay, I'm sure he was front row at his 8 a.m. Literature class this morning, but that's ridiculous. We all know what this is about, and it's crazy, man.
Well, so a couple of weeks ago when we were doing this whole conversation, the NCAA, you remember, finally put out that statement where they were like, hey, we are going to draw the line at NBA. If you've played in the NBA, you cannot play college basketball, which, by the way, I've seen a lot of people doing the thing where they say, well, every pro sports league is pro regardless of if it's NBA. None of y'all are stupid enough to believe that. Like, y'all have to at least understand there's a difference between NBA and everything. But ever since the NCAA said that, where they said, all right, NBA, that's the cutoff point. If you play in the NBA, you can't play college. Now Bama is testing it. They're getting as close as possible to an actual NBA player coming back to play college basketball. Because this is a guy that played college, went to play in the G League. That is as close as you can get to a legitimate NBA player without actually doing it. And so it's just kind of pushing that boundary. And I see, I think a lot of people's reaction around the country has been, well, if all these other teams are just getting, professional big men to come play, why don't we come do it? And I point to the James Najee thing. I'm going to point to this Bama situation, which I don't think is going to go well. I'll just go ahead and say that. I also think he's not going to be able to play full time for them. So they might let him play one game and then he's going to get kicked out. And then you're going to have to awkwardly take whoever you benched in favor of him. You're going to have to awkwardly turn back to them and say, actually, we need 12 minutes out of you off the bench. That's just going to be weird. And so, frankly, as a competitor of Alabama, I love this. I really do, because I think this is it's a rare, weird move from Nate Oates, frankly. And I know he does a lot of weird stuff. I mean, they had the Brandon Miller situation. Clearly, moral integrity is just not really up there for him. But this is the type of move that you only do if you're desperate, frankly. That's the word I keep coming back to. And it just seems a little weird to me because Nate Oates seems so buttoned up and has a plan all the time. I can't see how he doesn't see this is going to blow up in his face.
Right. Jaded here says G League is not viewed as the NBA. Need to remember that. Has nothing to do with that. You were playing college basketball and you effectively ended your career. The rules are the rules. You're playing college ball and you say, hey, I'm not going to do this anymore. I understand that I've got 2 years of eligibility left. I don't want them. I'm going to declare for the NBA draft. It's not the NBA's fault that they didn't take a player that wasn't good enough to be in the league. And so then you have no choice but to try to work your way up and grind. You got to do the Mason Jones thing and see if you can get a call up and then stick. It's exactly what he did. You quit college basketball to become a professional. You made that decision. Live with it. You can't come back and play college again. That's crazy.
Yeah. And also to throw it in, because I agree with everything you guys said. It's I sound like an old man here, but it's consequences have to happen with actions. You have to have consequences. So if you decide to leave, it needs to be, oh, I don't want to change my mind. No, you made that decision. So you have to stick with it. It has to be that way. And man, I wish Cal and Arkansas were playing like Bama this weekend or something. Because I don't know how we'd be able to hear from Cal, but that'd be so great. But it's those are the things that it's just frustrating, which by the way, the NCAA did put out a statement about this right before we started the show, where they said, these attempts to sidestep NCAA rules and recruit individuals who have finished their time in college or signed NBA contracts are taking away opportunities from high school students. A judge ordering the NCAA to let a former NBA player take the court Saturday against actual college student athletes is exactly why Congress must step in and empower college sports to enforce our eligibility rules. So, I mean, again, we keep referring to things as the Wild West, and it is right now. It's it seems like just so many people are pointing other directions, be like, they need to do this. Well, they need to do this. They just figure it out, man, and get this figured out because this is a mess.
And maybe Nate Oates is actually doing college basketball a favor by doing this, because it's going to cause some actual traction in terms of figuring out what the hell needs to be done here moving forward to get a handle on it. Because they're right. It's their fault for creating a system that is allowed to be broken without any consequence. But there's got to start being some kind of consequence. Somebody has to be able to, you have to answer to someone here. There have to be rules that are able to be enforced because they're right. People are going to keep sidestepping this and skirting the rules and dancing around things. And you can't have that, man. It's taken away from the purity of the game. And it's just, that's soft, man. A mid-season move where you go get a dude who, played for you 3 years ago. It's really, what are we doing? Are we going to be able to sign, college basketball players to one game NIL deals when you have some injuries or something? You just go pluck some kid out of this. I don't know, man. This is absurd. It's gone too far.
The important thing to remember here that no one's talking about is that Charles Bediako sucks at basketball. He actually isn't good. He's averaging 4 points a game right now in the G League. I don't believe he was putting up crazy numbers at Bama when he was there. It would be one thing if this guy were actually good and really would come in and start at Bama and really have a huge role. I don't buy that that's actually a thing either. Just like with James Najee, who's averaging 3 points a game or whatever. I don't know why you would go through all this trouble for a guy that's going to be your ninth man.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. That's my thing too, because I know we'll get to your chats and heavy hitters, but it's like what it reminds me of is if you're good, this is never a thing. If like if you feel confident in your abilities and you feel like, hey, I got a chance at the NBA, you just keep working towards that instead of going back this. As creepy as it may sound, it kind of sounds like the guy that's sitting there in college and he thinks he's the coolest guy on campus, but he goes to high school parties and he's like, I'm so cool, man. I'm awesome. I'm like, well, if you were awesome, you'd be at a college party, not a high school party. It's kind of the same thing. It's like, hey, if you were like wanting to do something that like legitimate, you'd be working towards the NBA, even if it is G League or even if it is, two-way contracts, whatever, you'd be working towards that instead of trying to come back with the 19, 20, 21-year-old kids playing basketball. So, yeah.
Charles Bediako is getting closer and closer to his degree at Alabama, just like he was getting closer and closer to getting a call up to the NBA. Neither one of those things are going to happen. It's crazy to me.
Yeah, and we agree that, like, I know the NCAA put out their statement basically saying, hey, this is a sham, and once this restraining order is over, we're going to snipe this thing down. We agree that this isn't like he's not about to just play the rest of the season for Alabama.
There's no way.
I wouldn't imagine, right?
I couldn't imagine. And real quick before we move on, just got sent this. Apparently, UConn AD David Benedict has been employing everybody at the NCAA to step into this like right now. It says if legally we can't control or impose NCAA rules in terms of who can play and who can't based on a legal decision, the NCAA has still the right to determine what games count towards the NCAA tournament and what games don't count. So if they deem him eligible, fine, he can play. But it doesn't mean that the games need to count towards the NCAA tournament. Otherwise, they throw away the rule book and set it on fire. So, hey, NCAA, if you feel like, oh, we can't do this, well, that is something you can do. You are in charge of who gets to the tournament. It's your event. So do it.
I wonder what that oral athletic director over there at Tennessee is feeling about this, because that's who this dude's getting ready to come play against. I'd be anxious to hear what Rick Barnes says about it in their pregame press conference. But what's that dude's name? Danny White? Is that the Tennessee guy?
Tennessee?
Yeah, who was just freaking out about people going over the rev share number or whatever. Well, how do you feel about this, big guy? Yeah. Let's get your hot takes here.
I just, and again, when we talked about this a few weeks ago over Christmas break, I was very adamant that, like, hey, we have to operate in like truth and real life and things that are actually happening. And based on the reaction, it seems like everybody is convinced this is a real thing that's going to completely change the fabric of college sports. And based on some of the reactions we're seeing from other people, from the NCAA, whoever, it just doesn't seem like that's what, like, we're all about to just be okay with this. And by the way, it matters what we think. If we think it's BS and Danny White thinks it's BS and the NCAA thinks it's BS, then it is BS. You know what I mean? So like this idea that we should just accept, be like, oh yeah, let's just, we got to go get a pro because everyone else is getting a pro and this is just the world we have to live in. I really don't buy that. And I don't think you guys believe it either.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I guarantee you Nate Oates in Alabama would probably have a change of heart if the NCAA just came in and says, okay, fine. If he plays one single game, y'all are banned from the NCAA tournament. I think suddenly they'd be like, you know what? We have made a decision. We are no longer going to have him play. Like, yeah, like grow some balls, NCAA. Just grow some balls and get it done.
We will not play this 6 points, 4 rebounds, big man for 12 minutes on Saturday if it will cost us the tournament.
Yeah, because I don't know how much money, and I don't know how that works. Like for teams that get into the tournament, do they get money similar to like what, like going to a bowl game or something? Maybe it is, maybe it's not. I don't know, but I feel like if I was a player on that basketball team and for Alabama, and that's what came out, be like, hey, coach, man, this guy can't play because I'm not going to waste a year not going to the NCAA tournament. Like, yeah, just put your foot down and hopefully it all goes away. It's just so dumb, but either way. Let's go ahead and get to some of your chats, folks. Before we do, I want to remind you that SARACEN is the official sports betting partner here of Inside Arkansas, and they're number one in the state for a reason, because they are the best of the best. They always have the great specials, the great prop plays, not only for Razorback sports, but for all sports of all types. We got the NFL playoffs. Of course, we got college basketball going on. Got everything. So you need to do it with the SARACEN app. And the best thing about it is because you rock with us here at Inside Arkansas. If you scan that QR code right there on your screen, or if you click the link in the description below, it'll take you to download the SARACEN app and use code InsideAR250. Just use that code InsideAR250. When you use that code, and you bet $25, you get $250. It's as simple as that. You get $250 whenever you bet $25 with the SARACEN app. So do it today. Again, scan that QR code or click the link in the description below and use code InsideAR250 for when betting $25, you get $250 with SARACEN. All right, so getting into some of your chats. Super chats get read first. That's the way we do it. Hey, how about this little super chat before we even started the show? Good grief.
Bang! Bang!
Yeah.
Cool.
So, Michael, appreciate it, man. I mean, the guy didn't even know what we were going to say. We could have had a crappy show today, and he was still going to pay us for us. But he says, "What's up, fellas? Absolutely love going into the game last night. The Bud was rocking. Hey, Curtis, what is our net ranking after last night's win? Also, CBS moved us from a 6 seed to a 5 seed this morning.
Little seed line bump game. You love to see it. Arkansas's 20 now in the nets. They moved up 4 spots to number 20. That's a good spot, man. A good place to be. And if you look at it, because some people might see that and they're like, damn, they moved up 10 spots for beating South Carolina just as bad. Like, what? Why not more here for Vanderbilt? It's because resumes are starting to flesh out more. And eventually, because there's this group of teams not directly ahead of Arkansas, but like the top 12 to 15 or so, that they just got a little bit more meat on the bone. Like, it's going to take a minute to catch them. Arkansas's got to flesh it out. Like, they've got 4 quad 1 wins. They got some real high quality wins. And those are the ones that I think matter the most, for the net and everything, but they've only got 1 quadrant 2 game on their slate right now. So a lot of people will look at it like Vanderbilt gets a lot of benefit of the doubt, because if you look at the first 2 quads, they've got 9 wins. Now 5 of them are in quadrant 2. Most of the times you get that in conference play, because you're seeing LSU, who's coming in here and playing you at home, and some of these others. If Arkansas is able to get through these next 3 games, 3-0, then they're going to have way more meat on the bone. All of a sudden, you're going to be looking at 9 or 10 wins in the first 2 quadrants. We could really start talking about them at that point about, hey, why aren't they talking about Arkansas as a 3 seed? Like, why aren't they higher up here in the net? This is the first time where I kind of look at everybody else and I look at Arkansas across the metrics and I go, this is just about right. I think it's finally starting to become reflective of what their resume looks like.
Also, too, by the way, I wanted to bring up from bracketology from Joey Brackets, ESPN. He had Arkansas as a 5 seed now, playing Utah Valley in San Diego. All right,
Love that.
It's yeah,
sure.
But they have them playing Texas Tech though if they win, more than likely as a 4 seed.
And the irritating thing about that is that just violates bracketing principles. Arkansas could not play Texas Tech in the second round.
Yeah, it should never happen.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Yeah, but
they do that every year where they just they predict things that just genuinely can't happen.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say the other thing too that made me laugh. This was for sure not happening, but they have Philadelphia has a UConn as the number 1 overall seed. Kentucky would be in that as an 8 seed in that 8-9 game. But the teams that are playing Kentucky or playing UConn as a 16 seed, St. Peter's. It's like, yeah, yeah. But what's funny too, because he has them in the play-in game, St. Peter's, but the other team that would be in there is NJIT, which we know from the baseball side of things. But anyways, I just saw that. I'm like, oh yeah, St. Peter's would not be UConn, but because St. Peter's only beats Kentucky. But either way, that would be really funny if that happened. So, but yeah, that's the latest with old Joey Brackets.
Love it.
See some other super chats. Sharkensaw, appreciate you, man. He says, bro got 3 years of NBA level development. Oates is a coward, period.
It's just this is wild to me, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, straight up. It's like I'm not an Oates fan. I've never been, but this is just another thing to add to his resume of my dislike and disdain for him. It's just stuff like this, dude.
The good news is he did get worse all of his 3 G League years. He's got worse incrementally each year. So he hasn't really developed all that much, it doesn't seem, which is why he's knocking on the door of college basketball right now.
But that's why he has to develop in the classroom, guys. He's got to go to art.
He's got to get that degree to really learn how to be good at basketball.
He needs that art lecture class,
They're acting like he just went and did some study abroad,
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
He studied in Grand Rapids, Michigan abroad.
Yes. Jeez. Shout out to Nep for the super chat. Appreciate it. Goes, I would like to formally apologize to TB and the Inside AR guys for my terrible TB take. Definitely gives a crap. Give me my crow.
I won't give you crow for that.
I don't even remember what we're giving him crow for, if I'm being honest.
I mean, for anyone who has been upset about like Trevin's effort or, only grabbing 2 rebounds at Georgia or whatever. I mean, just like this Arkansas team, there's a very clear difference from when they're fully engaged and when they're not. And that the strive for consistency is a big deal for everybody who's a college basketball player or a college basketball team. When Trevin brings it, he's awesome. And there really is no reason why he can't rebound the way that he did last night against pretty much anybody in this league. And hopefully he does it more often than not. But folks who are irritated about some of the previous performances out of him, when we've seen a lot of the stuff that he's capable of doing, I don't blame you one bit for feeling that way. And you shouldn't feel bad or apologize about it when John Calipari validated all of it in his press conference. And I think, Andrew, you brought it up earlier, John, either one of you, where he was like, where has that been? Like, why didn't you do that at Georgia? Did you just have a bad day? It's just Cal's. It's not all of the things that we say here, but a lot of the ways that we feel about, like, why isn't this guy doing this or that? John Calipari's not stupid. He knows it. He's having those conversations with those guys every day. It's like a constant battle as a coach to try to get the best out of your team.
Yeah, I think it's like you said, it's 100% valid when Trevin has a game where he doesn't play to that standard to be like, hey, Trevin, come on, man, pick it up. We need you to play better. Like, what's going on? That's perfectly fine. What drives me nuts is when people do the thing where they're like, why is Trevin in the lineup? Why is Trevin playing? And it's like, what do you mean, why is he playing? He's 6'10",
yeah.
can block shots, can shoot threes, can rebound, can do all these things. What do you mean, why is he playing? Like, when he plays poorly, we then do this like psychoanalyze where we're like, is Cal just losing it? Is it? And it's like, no, it's just a guy who has effort inconsistencies, having effort inconsistencies. And yes, we want him to play well every time, but if he has a bad game against Oklahoma or something, we don't have to pretend like it was this flawed concept having him in the starting lineup. Like, let's just hope we get the good version every time.
Yeah. And I'd also throw in, like, just kind of separate from this, but when he was bringing up Trevin Brazil, I think, we talk about Cal-isms and what he does. His big thing this year has been, what? Like, oh, I didn't think I just just had one of those bad games. What? He says that to himself as in, like, he's a conversation. What? So that's his new thing too. So gonna have to add that into the dictionary of Cal-isms. Let's see. Also, Might Be Mike. Appreciate the super chat. Goes, time for us to go get Jonas Adu. LOL, crazy.
Yeah, he would be. I don't remember if he had a year from COVID left or whatever, but like, it'd be that kind of thing. It's wild. I saw a couple different people in the chat that were like, "Where's Aldis Tony?" Hell, Bediako, I think, played against Aldis Tony. So it's. I mean, this is ridiculous, man.
Get BJ Young in. Like, he's in the chat. Like, just come on back home, man.
Sure. Yeah. Why
not? Shargets also appreciates it. Says we just need Dave Van Horn's weather guy and we're good. It's true.
Yeah,
it's true.
Dude, I am not looking forward to baseball season only for the weather aspect of it. People lose their minds. It'll rain on Tuesday and they'll be like, yeah, they can't play Friday. I'm like, y'all know this is a field that's like, they have the greatest grounds crew in the country, great weather guys. Like, they know what they're doing here. They can figure it out. I promise you.
Yeah. And I don't know why. I don't know this for a fact, and it's not an insult. I just feel like Dave has a farmer's almanac. That's where he gets his. I bet you he opens up a farmer's almanac. He's never made a bad
decision on weather.
No.
Every time they move the game, it works out perfectly.
Yeah. He's got, if his other calling could have been a true meteorologist if he wasn't a baseball coach, because that dude knows his grass and he knows his weather. That's what he's big on. So, yeah, I know. Let's see. We already talked about that. Talking about start. Oh, I like this from Jack. He just says, LFG Hogs, listening from the middle of the Pacific Ocean, time to prove something at OU. Are you like Castaway? Like, are you like out like you out there with the Wilson? Yeah, do you need to have Wilson the volleyball? Like, just funny. It's like the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Cool, I assume you're on a boat and on like maybe a cruise or something. But yeah, we appreciate it, man. We appreciate it. Would Hawaii be considered just in the middle of the Pacific Ocean? I assume, yeah. So, but saying Hawaii would probably be really cool. Let's see. Also, Hayden says, not nitpicking here, but Tanner just literally taking the ball out of his hand on that possession irked me. LOL.
Talking about Acuff, I think.
Yeah.
Acuff got his pocket picked a couple times by Tanner in the first half, and neither of them were really doing anything. But I was like, man, that's kind of annoying. Yeah.
That, and then if I'm not mistaken, because Nickel, he had 17 points in the first half and didn't score again, right? That's
right.
That guy was pissing me off. Like, it was just like that. That's the type of the student section started coming back out at me because I'm like, I'm targeting that guy. That guy, I hate that guy.
He when he hit his first shot, there was like that little fadeaway in the lane and it bounced off the back rim and hit the top of the backboard and fell in. It was like, okay, here we go with this guy. He was going to get those shots down anyway, but it didn't help that Arkansas's defenders were literally running away from him every time he touched the ball in the first half.
So annoying. Also, I don't think I've ever seen that happen, not once, but twice, where it hits the back of the rim and then just swishes right in. Like, it happened twice to the same player. So
one
annoying.
Time Curtis said, I'm glad that went in. They needed to learn. You can't run off a shooter like that.
They're going to learn today. Let's see. Also, Katz is in here again. He says they had won a game this time last year, Curtis. They were 1-5. Give them their credit.
Katz, you're not gonna get me on the Arkansas history, buddy. Arkansas's win over Georgia was on January 22nd a year ago. That was 364 days ago. They had not won a game yet at this point.
Oh man, you saying Katz is wrong about something? I don't believe that.
I am.
Hickory Hog says, I need Acuff to be pissed off more. The stone-faced pro is cool and all, but he plays so much better when he's pissed off. I mean,
he starts games kind of like it's like he's like a fighter that needs to get punched in the face before he's in the fight. He starts games very lackadaisical and then has like one or two god-awful turnovers, and then he doesn't turn the ball over the rest of the game. It's crazy.
Yeah. You know, it kind of reminds me of a situation where it's like, you know, I like it when he's mad as long as he's not mad at me. Because I feel like if he's mad at me, I'd be fearful for my life. He's one of those guys, but he's like, he can be mad at Cal. Just don't get mad at us. You know, just direct all your anger towards Cal and whatever it takes to have you play better. But yeah, you could definitely, when he gets that face on him, and you can see him barking at Cal over there. It's like, all right, man. Like Cal says, as long as you're putting the ball in the hoop and as long as you're, you know, passing the ball effectively, do it all the time, man. Do it all the time. David says, Curtis, could you make a case with that? With how deep this year's draft is? Malik could be a lottery pick next year if he stayed in school instead of declaring.
Probably, but he'll be a first round pick this year. So don't worry about it. Malik Thomas isn't coming back to Arkansas next year.
Nope.
Matter of fact, but draft guys, I would say at least half the draft guys have him over Acuff in a lot of their projections. I've seen several draft boards that have him over Acuff because there's still a resistance to Acuff, and we think it's BS, whatever. He'll end up finishing higher, but Malik is pretty firmly in the top 30 of most draft boards.
Yeah. But to that point, though, next year's draft is going to be like this year's draft is stacked or whatever. Next year's draft is going to be horrible. It is. Because this incoming freshman class is not good. So,
well, just always live by the advice that I've always taken for myself. If you have a chance to get drafted in the first round of any sport, do it. Just do it. Doesn't matter the sport. Doesn't matter. Oh, well, you know, come back next year and increase. Nope. Don't risk it. Don't do it. If you're going to be drafted, or at least, you know, you got a very high chance of being drafted first round in any sport, leave and go do it. Simple
also,
as that.
the rules with anything, if you're going to be a year older, you better be a year better, a lot better. Just ask Carter Knox, who has not improved his draft stock because he's more or less the exact same player and he'll still have a chance to get drafted. But like, if you're going to be a year older, you better really be averaging. Like Malik, if he were going to come back, he would have to average literally like 20. He'd have to average like 5 or 6 assists, probably really improve as a ball handler, playmaker, show real strides in your game, which is not saying he couldn't do that, but there's a lot more pressure on you if you come back than there is as a freshman coming out of the first round.
What did Cal say about Carter last night? Don't worry about that bag. You know, don't worry about that bag. Focus on this bag over here. Yeah. Love that from him. Omri also says, Curtis, I tweeted at you when he danced and it was about Acuff. I think it was when DJ fed it down low to Ewan and he was dancing to prove a point to Acuff about how DJ was facilitating the ball.
Good. That's even better. That's even better.
Okay. Like can you describe the jig? Can you describe the dance? Like, was it a Fortnite dance or what were we just talking about? A little like, was he two-stepping? Like what kind of jig?
Yeah, a little bit. It was, if you could just imagine John Calipari dancing, that's what it would be. It was actually less cringy than what Jerome Tang did in the stands with Kansas State last night. So I don't know if y'all saw that, but it was
yeah, that was brutal. That was brutal.
He had a little bit more movement in his hips. It wasn't like Hitch, you know,
right?
But it was decent.
What would be the funniest thing John Calipari could do basketball related as far as like a celebration or anything? Like, you know, on their head, if he did that, would that be funny? Or like raising the roof, you know, like
I wouldn't
they do.
Mind seeing him raise the roof.
I could say, yeah, raising the roof would be pretty hysterical. Yeah, I was just trying to think because I always, you know, if you see the bench, they always have their celebrations and whatnot. But if Cal ever did one of those things, it'd be pretty funny. So a few more here because I know we'll get to our heavy hitters here in just a little bit too, which for me at least is going to have something to do with Razorback basketball. But Kingsley says, hopefully you're getting better, man. He says sometimes you just need to be cussed out with love.
That's right.
True.
That's facts.
True. Mm-hmm. We all have had that. We've all had that. And then Chance also says scouts were in attendance. It was a low percentage shot. I get way he didn't try to chunk it up. We are already leading at half. No reason to take a shot. I guess he's talking about A-Cups thing.
I promise you, there is not a scout on this planet that would see Darius Acuff take a shot from across half court to beat the buzzer that would go low percentage shot. We're going to drop him down behind Tyler Tanner now. That's not. I promise you. Don't overthink it. That's all.
I swear people come in the chat and say stuff that they don't believe. There's no way you believe a scout would be mad at Darius or would like knock Darius Acuff for taking a 1 second left half court heave. That they would be like, no, that's bad shot selection. In fact, I think you could go the other way where you'd be like, scouts would look at it and be like, wow, this guy's selfish. He's saving his shooting percentage. Like, I think there would be more likely they would be mad at him for not shooting than they would for being like bad shot selection, low percentage look.
They were way more upset about the first 2 shots that Darius Acuff attempted in that basketball game than if he would have taken that shot at the end of the half.
Yeah, that's wild. Like I don't even know how to respond, but you guys handled it perfectly. So either way, we'll have more of your chats, but let's go ahead and get into our heavy hitters here on the show, presented by HD Roofing and Construction, because we know storms can hit, just like it's going to be happening this weekend across the state of Arkansas and other places where you need to make sure your roof can handle it. There's nothing worse than having to deal with snow or ice or wind or rain or anything like that if your roof is not able to handle it, because it can lead to leaks, and that can lead to damage to your home, damage to your possessions, or even damage to yourself. So wait no longer. Get it done right now and get HD Roofing Construction over to your home to give you that free inspection, to give you the peace of mind that you need, because they're going to have professionalism, top quality materials, and expert installation for all of your roofing needs. And if you're in the Northwest Arkansas area, you can give them a call today at 479-957-1928. That's 479-957-1928. Or in the Central Arkansas area at 501-428-0429. That's 501-428-0429. You can also check out their website at hdarkansas.com. It's HD Roofing Construction, the official sponsor of our heavy hitters here on Inside Arkansas. So, guys, I just got really one quick one, which we talked about some of it, but I'm going to go with the Razorback fans last night. Now, I'm not going to be the cliche of like the energy was high. No, because that's what it should be every time. And that's not what I'm going to go with. But I'm going with the fans who have the understanding, the know-with-all, and the feeling for DJ Wagner. Because you're talking about a guy that we've talked about him and how he struggled and all of that. This was a fan base that, as fans, they get fed up, they get pissed when certain players don't play well. And if they continue to not play well, they get like, this guy sucks, get him off, whatever. But this was a particular thing that when DJ came in, DJ played well. And at the end of the game, when he's checking out of the game, he got a resounding ovation. And that is like awesome, because that's a lot better than what Kentucky fans have been giving him. I can tell you that, because they were booing him every time he caught the ball last year in Lexington. But I just want to give a shout out to the Razorback fans, because that's the type of thing. Well, I mean, did it impact DJ one way or the other? I don't know. But I'm just glad that the Razorback fans, at least there last night, were aware, were understanding, and like, hey, people may get fed up with you, people may get frustrated with you, but we're still rooting for you, and we're going to give you a lot of love when you do something great. So I just thought that was, again, a cool moment. I know we're big fans of DJ, we're rooting for him as well, but I just wanted to give a shout out to the Razorback fans to not just be like, okay, yeah, you're getting out of the game, that's fine. Finally, you do your job, DJ. It's like more like, hey, man, we know you've been going through it. We're going to let you hear about it and know that we're still behind you. So I just wanted to give a shout out to them, because I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I had considered going the opposite direction of just, like DJ being my heavy hitter because of the way he handled that situation, because a lot of guys wouldn't handle that as well as he did, but took it in stride and use it to motivate him, went out there and played with a lot of freedom and confidence. And then he had a big smile on his face in the process. So that was cool to see. And shout out to the fans for their reaction. This is a big game for the Arkansas fan base brand. I thought they did a really good job. The awareness of the game, the awareness of the moment. I love it when it's just like everybody in the arena knows. It's like an organic thing. It's like, oh, we stand up now. And you can just kind of feel the momentum building in the arena. We don't need somebody yelling into a megaphone or something to get you to do it. We don't need something on the Jumbotron saying, stand up, Razorback fans. No, we don't need that. We get it over here. And I thought there was a lot of that in the game. Hell, we didn't sit down for like the first 8 minutes of the basketball game. I mean, people were up, and there were no old heads like down in front, please. So it was good, man. I'm with you. I thought the atmosphere was awesome. So I'll piggyback on the heavy hitters with just the fans in general. We found out now, what was it, $375K for those seats on Gucci Row by Cal? They were talking about on the broadcast
for the year, man. That's crazy.
For the year, and they even got they got some camera time over there as well. So those are the real heavy hitters in this situation. You get to pay to sit by, not even Cal because he doesn't really sit, but you basically get to stare at the back of his trousers, and you're sitting by Chuck Martin. But there you go.
By the way, everyone kept saying Gucci Row. It's not Gucci Row though, right? This is right next. This is like on the bench, like the Arkansas
like those
bench.
recliners, yeah, like right, it's sitting right beside the bench, yeah.
Yeah, because how many seats are there? Is there 4 and 4 on each side?
I think so.
Okay, so let's just see. So basically, those eight probably paid for Darius Acuff and Malik Thomas. So thank you for your contribution and sitting there to make these players come there. But yeah, I don't know what it is. It's above Gucci Row though. Maybe it needs to be like Diamond Row or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a good one too.
Also, am I wrong in thinking that the U of A has maybe been listening to people's complaints and they've toned down some of the Whataburger fry shuffle and the let's do the chicken dance and let's do, I feel like I hear people that work for the U of A less than I ever have.
Yeah, I think so.
And they're playing videos that share the history of Arkansas basketball. The hype videos are way better now. A lot of the things that we've been complaining about, we've been seeing. So I want to give them at least a small semblance of credit for that.
Yeah. No, I don't know if it's that they're doing it less or just doing it at the right times. Because that was the biggest thing that I would always piss me off. Is like, I get it. Hey, you got to pay the bills. We all got to pay the bills. But it's like, hey, you just go on a 11-0 run. Other team takes a timeout, calling the Hogs, and then just, hey, let's do this crap. It's like, okay, do that stuff when everyone's mad already. Like do it when you have to take the timeout because the other team went on the run. Do it then.
The halftime dog race was a bust, though. Unfortunately, I don't know if y'all watched.
I didn't get to see it.
I was fighting for my life during that moment. So
yeah, it was a bust. It's like only one of the dogs ran. I think his name was Rigatoni or something. So that was kind of cool, but yeah, it wasn't the best. We've had better.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Was it the wasn't there a dog show that they had like a girl or a woman like with the frisbee and it was like that dog was not catching any frisbee?
Just had the itis had the Nick Pringle hands trying to catch the frisbee. It was crazy, man.
Yeah. They had that dog out there for football season a few times. He did a good job during football season, but basketball, I don't know if it's just a different surface. He didn't like it as much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, listen, it's slick on those claws, man. You can't grip it like in the grass, so it makes it tough. So, so who's your heavy hitter, Andrew?
Well, I always feel bad when y'all go with Razorback related heavy hitters when I don't have a Razorback related one because I'm like, damn, now I'm like killing the vibes here a little bit. But I want to. We have 2 new members of the Baseball Hall of Fame. What would you guys say? I mean, Carlos Beltran, Andrew Jones. Just in y'all's 30,000-foot view, do y'all feel like those are adequate? Like those are good Hall of Fame inductees?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm a big Carlos Beltran guy.
I am as well. I thought both were great. For whatever reason, I was checking Twitter, and a lot of people were like stunned that Andrew Jones got in the Hall of Fame. Look at numbers and other center fielders that have gotten in or whatever. But I feel like Andrew Jones in my brain. When I think of the best center fielder defensively of all time, I'm sure there's guys you can make arguments for, but Andrew Jones comes to my brain, and he also hit 400 something home runs. Like I feel like that's a pretty easy Hall of Fame guy. Carlos Beltran, people don't know about Carlos Beltran. So he had he only played one real season with the Astros, and it was midway. He was traded halfway through, had like an unreal postseason run back in the day. But then he joined the Astros his final year in 2017, and he was the one who started the whole sign stealing scandal in Houston. He was the ringleader of this whole operation. In fact, that's pretty much why he was 40 years old anyway. He was pretty much done, but like, that was pretty much why his career ended at the same time that it did, and launched the greatest era in Astros history. So I got to thank Carlos Beltran for that, and Andrew Jones, absolute stud. I saw him hit a 2 home run game when I went to Turner Field when I was a kid, and I'll never forget that.
Well, I was going to say, I've always felt like when it comes to the major sports in the Hall of Fames, from what I understand, is like baseball is like the hardest to get into. NFL is kind of, or football is like kind of in the middle, and then basketball, they just let anybody in. I think it was always the deal.
Yeah.
It's like,
the basketballs is like it's just called the Basketball Hall of Fame. So it's
Right.
not the NBA Hall of Fame. It's not the professional so you have like Christian Laettner could get in the Basketball Hall of Fame. I don't know if he is, but it's like it's kind of vague with some of these guys where it's like if you had a great career overseas, you can be in the Basketball Hall of Fame. Baseballs, it's like you have to have a 15-year dominant MLB career. The best player in the history of baseball is not in the Hall of Fame.
Who's that?
Old Barry. Barry Bonds.
They
just
Pete
will
Rose.
not let him in the Hall of Fame because apparently he did steroids and he was the only one in the early 2000s that was doing steroids.
His head's too big.
Well,
His
listen,
hat wouldn't fit, so they couldn't get him in there. They didn't have enough material for the bust.
yeah. I could hey, listen, I always made the joke because did the MLB return all the money they made on the ratings? Because I promise you they didn't. So that was a big deal for it. So all right, so a few chats before we get out of here. Appreciate everybody tuning in and hanging out with us. And by the way, which since it's going to be the snowpocalypse, may have some fun little content that we'll do since everyone's stuck in their homes this weekend. Maybe we'll do some fun live streams and hang out since we'll be stuck as well. So we'll keep you updated on any fun stuff that we'll have going on there. But okay, Kopesky says, Andrew, did you watch Southeastern 16 talk about Razorback baseball picked to either go to Omaha or fall early, worried about pitching?
I did not watch that, but that is not surprising to hear. We were talking last night about how D1 baseball, Mike Rooney, who I really respect, he had a similar sentiment where he's like, I could see Arkansas winning the national title or completely falling off. And I think that's actually crazy because I think if there's two things we know about Arkansas baseball, they're going to win a lot of games and not win the national title. So I actually don't view Arkansas as a boom or bust team. I think we're probably a pretty safe bet to be top 5 and not win the title, frankly, if we're just going off of history. I appreciate, you said they were worried about pitching. I'd have to go back and listen, which I'm not going to do. But I at least can expect, like, if you're going to make a case against Arkansas, the pitching would be the case to do. There's a little bit of unknowns, guys that are going to have to step up. The thing I keep coming back to is if you look at all the pitchers under Matt Hobbs that have really had a ton of success and taken their games to big time levels, it's guys that stayed at Arkansas for 2, 3, 4 years. Like Zach Root was one of the best transfers we ever got, and he had a good year. He didn't take this massive jump. Hunter Holland, he was a solid pitcher. He didn't take this massive jump. The guys that have taken these massive jumps, Hagen Smith, Kevin Kopps, Gage Wood, someone like Connor Noland even, Isaiah Campbell, even was in year 3 for him. Like, those are the guys that usually take their games to a next level. And so for this team, you've got a lot of candidates, Gabe Gackle, Cole Gibbler, Hunter Dietz, Tate McGuire, Colin Fisher. One of those guys I feel like is going to have to really outperform expectations in order for Arkansas to reach their ultimate ceiling. And I think Hunter Dietz just might be that guy, man, honestly.
Oh, here's hope. This is finally the year. It's finally the year that it happens for him. So Unbiased Bryn, hey, shout out. I don't feel like we haven't heard from Unbiased in a bit. At least I haven't. But he says that's how you build a unified team. When you can hold your best players accountable, then the entire team eventually reaches the next level, which
fact right here, man.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Cats by 21 says Wagner getting pulled from the starting lineup should have been on the Fox News ticker.
It's kind of funny, actually.
But the only people that would have cared about it would have been you nerds in Lexington, honestly.
Yes.
Like, literally no one else. I mean, and we cared about it. We talked about it, but it's like, I think we all kind of saw it coming. And so we kind of knew it was going to happen. But like, hey, it's crazy that they genuinely believe in their hearts that they're like, he was not capable of making a move.
Yeah, well, he just had to go to a superior school to be able to have the freedom to do things like this. That's what it comes down to. Also, Kopesky says, Curtis, I can hook you up with the queso Fritos. I'm a sales rep for Frito-Lay.
I got to talk to you about that. John might need to. I turned John onto those, and he can't get enough of them. But they're good, man, because I've always liked the honey barbecue twist that they have. I've been getting those since I was a kid, but the first time I stumbled on them queso ones, it's a little bit of an addiction. I'm trying to keep them out of the house, but it's hard, man. They're good. I like them.
I'm going to be honest, Curtis. It's like I don't just eat them straight out of the bag. I do taco bowls, and I put them in the taco bowls, kind of like a little extra like crunch thing in there. So that's what I use it for, as a not a delicacy. What do they call it when you're just like adding a little like extra thing to a meal? I don't know. One of those things. As if it's like the calories go away if I do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, no, it's fine. I'm just eating it in a different way. So
yeah, it's just like
a
topping for whatever you got going on. It's fine.
Yes. Yeah, totally. It's like sprinkles on ice cream. See, hey, we got Luke Gig'em Rise again. Curtis, can we get thoughts on A&M and Mississippi State ball game? There is, before you answer, Curtis, I can't think of a worse basketball game that I ever want to watch personally, but you go ahead.
I was going to say, my thought is I'm not watching it. Actually, I am, though, because I watch all these games. I'm looking forward to both games tonight, Kentucky and Texas, and then this game between A&M and Mississippi State. Andrew and I talked about this on Inside SEC Basketball Live the other day, and Texas A&M has, I mean, I think they're very clearly the better team. They're at home. They should win. This is shaping up for Texas A&M to be 6-1 at the end of the week. And I know the schedule flips on them after that, but you can build a lot of confidence by getting to that point. You're not going to like this, but Andrew and I both wound up picking Mississippi State. All I'm saying, don't get Josh Hubbarded, because he'll do it to you. Ask your friends over at Texas what happens when Josh Hubbard comes into town. I would not be surprised at all if that dude goes in there and pops off for 40. And when he does that, all they need is one other player to get going. So I didn't start this chat just to pick on you, because I know we had our back and forth yesterday. I appreciate what Bucky's doing over there. You guys are having a hell of a season so far. But in fairness, we did both pick, and it's you can go back and look at Monday's show. We both picked Mississippi State.
The good news is, Luke, that you should Texas A&M, they have a lot of experience when it comes to 5'10" guards that shoot 35% from the floor. They know all about that at A&M. So Josh Hubbard's not going to catch them off guard.
This is true.
Yeah.
This is true.
Yeah, which also Luke says John hates A&M. Southwest Conference scarred my dog. Yeah, because I was alive during all of that. But no, I hate everybody, like pretty much. It's just A&M basketball is like one of those things I just do not care. Like, I haven't cared since AC Law and Billy Clyde was there. Like, that was the last time I was actually somewhat interested in Texas A&M basketball. And also, James, I don't know if talking about the chat or us or whatever it says. Can we have one show without talking about Kentucky? Don't give a crap about BBN.
Well, I was just gonna throw it out there that would be y'all in the chat that are doing that.
Yeah.
If you don't want to talk about it, just like don't engage with the bait when it comes at you.
Right.
The only thing that we said about Kentucky today is talking about Owe making that shot when we were discussing whether or not Acuff should have took it. So
yes,
you know.
I was just trying to rack my brain, and I'm like, did we even talk about Kentucky? Like, because they didn't even play last night. Like, I really don't know. I guess it is just we had a stretch in the chat earlier where Cats and OKC were like having a you should be banned off, and they were like trying to get each other banned, which is funny because I think both have been banned at different points in time, and both are very strong candidates to be banned at any given moment. So it's like funny doing it, like, you should be banned. No, you should be banned. It's like
I did laugh seeing OKC kind of crash out about it a little bit when throughout most of football season, he was in here and he was like proclaiming himself as the king of rage bait and like going out of his way to try to get us going and everything like that. And it's like, it's kind of a pot calling the kettle black situation here, my man. We actually love all you guys. So.
Grown adults, man. Yeah, grown adults. Jeez, it's just like, I'm not even gonna make the comparison, but it just cracks me up how listen, dude, what we do, we take seriously, we have fun with it, but sometimes y'all in the chat is just like, it's not that serious. It's really not that serious. But hey, you guys keep it entertaining nonetheless. And by the way, I could have easily brought up Kentucky with, Mark Pope talking about parables and burning bushes and stuff. Because listen, there's a lot of material there for how he's gotten this turnaround. But we'll settle that for next week, because that'll be happening in Fayetteville next week. So, well, fellas, any final thoughts before we roll out of here from Inside Arkansas Live today?
Thanks for keeping us entertained, everybody. We appreciate y'all. No real final thoughts. Go to the store, get your bread and milk, fight people for the last loaf there on the shelves, and be safe this weekend.
I think I'm going to the store today, but I feel like, is tomorrow going to be like, could I still go to the store tomorrow if I forget something to, are we going to be alive then?
You might not get what you want. Like the bread, you might get the stale or like the weird loaf that nobody wants to eat, but you're all right.
Oh, man, dude, we sorry to get off track here, but we, about, I guess, I don't know how many months ago this would have been, we bought like a 100 pack of toilet paper, like 100 pack. And we were like, dude, this is going to last us forever. It's out. we run out. And I'm just like, I can't believe that happened. I really genuinely, I was like, we will move out before we run out of this toilet paper. That's a tough one. But yeah, everyone, thanks for a great show. Honestly, we had tremendous vibes on last night's Pot at the Palace post game. Once we got finished, I was like, I feel like that was the most positive, uplifting vibe we've ever had. and it, for the most part, carried over today. I know there was some shenanigans in the chat. We got mad about the Alabama kid a little bit, but we had great vibes, and I appreciate everybody for tuning in. And we're going to keep doing this every day.
And just, I have to respond to the comment you made about the toilet paper. If I saw somebody leaving a store with like 100 pack of toilet paper, I'd be like, man, they go to the bathroom a lot, don't they? Like it's a tough scene. Like buying toilet paper is everything somebody needs, but if you're walking out with like 100 pack, whew, it's like
one of those things, man. Global pandemic, winter weather. Make sure you can wipe your butt. That's the most important thing. Yep,
absolutely. Yeah, it's good advice. But either way, we do appreciate each and every one of you listening in, watching in. Be sure to subscribe to us in Inside Arkansas. We're going to cover everything when it comes to Razorback basketball with Pod at the Palace, Razorback baseball with the Bombastic Podcast, Razorback recruiting when it comes to football side of things with Inside Arkansas recruiting, and as well as all the football things and Inside Arkansas Live. We got it all going on, so be sure to subscribe. Be sure to check out all of our audio podcasts wherever audio podcasts are found, and we're going to keep it going from there. So that'll do it for us today. For Andrew Ellis, Curtis Wilkerson, and intern Cameron, I'm John Neighbors. Same sports show, same sports channel tomorrow at noon. Have a great rest of your day, everybody.